Hello, I'm Tom Winnick. Welcome to the KZGN News.
From the Rademacher Hills to Bee Mountain and the mighty Sierras, Ridgecrest to Inyokern and China Lake, this is your news for the Indian Wells Valley with the KZGN News crew.
In police department news, it was reported over the weekend that Saturday night, around midnight, that a 1994 GMC Jimmy SUV was traveling west on the dirt road in the 800 block south of Allen Street along the Bowman bike path area. Witnesses say the SUV was swerving back and forth and finally rolled onto its roof. There were 3 occupants that fled the scene. The police did find some blood at the scene as well. They conducted an area search and found no one. The police contacted the vehicle owner that was not cooperative. She said she loaned the vehicle to someone she didn't know and they haven't returned it yet. The police will continue their search for the driver and the occupants. Here's some news from the Indian Wells Valley Water District. As a PAC member, I'm seeing the Water District making small cuts in roads all over town and replacing water lines from the street to people's homes, including my own. Our KZGN News contributor, Tanya Pyle, went straight to the source and asked our Indian Wells Water District General Manager, Don Zadiba. He said people have leaks on their service laterals that go to their meter, typically high-density polyethylene pipe. Zadiba said we have experienced leaks on those pipes over the years, so it's just normal maintenance. But typically, if our crew goes to an area where there is a leak, what they'll generally do is, rather than just repair the one leak because there is an excavation open, they'll go ahead and replace the 4 services that come off that same area. Because we know that ultimately the others are going to develop leaks, it's basically just preventive maintenance. The polyethylene pipe is designed to last a long time. The pipe has an antioxidant included in the resin where the pipe is extruded. The higher temperatures depletes the antioxidant, including out of the pipe resin. Zadiba explained that this makes it more brittle, causing little splits to develop in the pipe, and that's what's been happening. He said there is no contamination from the process, and the pipe remains safe for potable water. We asked about copper piping versus the polyethylene piping. Zadiba said in the early days the district used copper pipe. We switched over to the high-density polyethylene pipe. But based on the studies that have been done and the experiences we've had, we are going back in copper again, for the most part. As for whether the copper is more expensive, Zadiba said, no, not really. Copper prices fluctuate quite a bit, and at current prices it's pretty compatible. Pressing on, KZGN asked the general manager about the district wells. He said there are about 10 wells around the area within the district. Most of the pumping is from the area called the Southwest Well Field, south of Inyokern. But he said there were a couple off Mahan and a couple off Inyokern Road near the Buttermilk Makers area. He said water levels are measured monthly by a sounding method, and he plots those results quarterly. He said that this goes back 10 years in his records to about 2005 and demonstrates a drop close to about a foot per year if the water goes into the distribution system and to customers. Wells too brackish to be potable are at the north part of the base range and also the east and southeast of town. He said there were no chemical problems in the wells, but when asked about the issues of arsenic, he said that there are arsenic in 4 of the wells that exceed the new EPA standards, which is 10 parts per billion. It used to be 50 parts per billion. Fortunately, he said, we have 2 arsenic facilities that remove the arsenic from the water. Each plant takes it essentially down to 0, or 3 parts per billion. Well, thank you, Tanya, for this report. In staying with the water topic, recently, Naval Air Weapons Station Captain Rich Wiley had some things to say concerning water issues facing our area. KZGN News contributor Tanya Pyle probed further concerning NAW's input into the issues and the County Valley water proposal process being considered. Along with other stakeholders in the ongoing issue, IWV Land Use Management Plan and related groundwater discussion workshops, and etc. Captain Wiley said that NAWS had actively participated in the development and review of the IWV Land Use Management Plan and related groundwater issue discussions. Captain Wiley has submitted a response letter to Kern County Planning and Community Development Department regarding the draft environmental impact report for the plan. The letter was dated March 12, 2015, is giving the Navy's support to Kern County's efforts to implement measures to protect NAWS and Indian Wells Valley residents from the threat of increasing unrestricted groundwater production. He does have some concerns because the proposed action of the draft plan allows the estimated current pumping deficit of the 16,000 acre-feet annually to increase by an additional 12,000 acre-feet, further exacerbating the overdraft issue and adding significant compliance challenges to the soon-to-be established IWB Ground Sustainability Agency. He has encouraged the county to pursue all potential actions to reduce growth in unrestricted groundwater pumping and to make every effort to expedite the formation of the IWB GSA in accordance with the 2015 Sustainable Groundwater Management Act recently passed by Sacramento. Beyond ongoing discussions over many years about the water importation topic in the IWB, Captain Wiley said the Navy is not aware of any formal plans for importing water, nor does the NAWS currently have such a plan. Ultimately, the GSA will have the responsibility to address the issue in the near future. Captain Wiley supports the objective of investigating every viable possibility for maintaining and extending the life of our local groundwater resources, including water conservation, utilizing brackish, reclaimed, and gray water, as well as water importation and possibly other methods to lower demand and increase water availability. We thank NAWS Base Captain Wiley for his candid comments. We'll be back after this break with Critter Connection and more on the Indian Wells Valley water issue. Welcome back. With more on the water issue, recently the IWV Cooperative Groundwater Management Group had a meeting. The main issue for discussion was the use of gray water as a way to help conserve groundwater. Peter Brown offered the following definition of gray water: any used water without fecal matter in it. City engineer Lion Culp brought out that approved uses for gray water is for only crops or things that grow above the ground, meaning you can't use gray water on a crop for human consumption that would grow below the ground, but gray water could be used for fruit trees, grapes, or other things that grow above the ground. Gray water could also be used for just plain irrigation of grass areas, etc. The group is also looking into the use of brackish water supply we have, as well as trying to sort out models on how our water basins recharge. There was also discussion as to whether they, as a group, wanted to take a position on Kern County's land use management plan recommendations. Mayor Breeden recommended they not take a position until the final hearing at the City Council's April 1st meeting. It is at this meeting that the Council and the County will once again take up the issue, and the County will provide their proposals for public discussion and comments. It is also expected that the City Council will possibly take an official position from the City concerning the plan. It was also reported that Mick Gleason is also still out gathering inputs from interested groups. Then still to follow all these meetings will be the actual meeting of the County Board of Supervisors. These will be held soon, and it is reported that there will be one of these meetings of the full Board of Supervisors here in Ridgecrest to once again hear from the people in the valley. The whole controversy surrounding this issue is that there have been numerous reports and analysis done on the issue that are conflicting and contradict each other. What can't be argued is that some people in the valley report their water levels are dropping, some at a significant rate, but then there are reports that some wells are not dropping at all. There is also conflict as to how many water basins we have below us in the valley. Some reports have said we have one basin. Other reports state we could have as many as 3 individual basins. And then we have the county's plan that has 3 recommendations, and none of these 3 is expected to stop the overdraft we now have in some areas. Just slow the overdraft down. All I can say is it will be interesting how the Kern County Supervisors ultimately decide the issue. Now with news from Assemblywoman Shannon Grove, Republican out of Bakersfield. She joined other legislators and business owners on the steps of the state capitol yesterday to advocate for legislation to stop lawsuit abuse in California. Grove specifically promoted a bill she authored, AB 588, which changes a provision in state law used by attorneys to file multi-million-dollar lawsuits against business owners over trivial paycheck stub mistakes. These frivolous lawsuits have increased over 400% since the law's enactment, forcing companies around the state to pay huge settlements and lay off workers and driving others into bankruptcy. She said, "Our employment laws are in place to protect workers from abuse, but trial lawyers have perverted them into a money-making machine to benefit themselves, said Shannon Grove. This is legal theft backed by the law. It's modern-day extortion. It's ruining companies. It's killing jobs. It's destroying lives, and it needs to stop. In 2004, the state legislature passed the Private Attorney General Act, which enabled employees to directly sue their bosses for labor code violations. Previously, state agencies enforced these laws. Although the law was meant to prevent employers from abusing their workers, lawyers have found a way to use the law to file multi-million-dollar class action lawsuits against employers for minor paycheck errors. How minor? Pay stubs must list pay periods starting and ending dates, not just ending dates. Paychecks must list the complete legal business name. So if the legal company name is USA Trucking Incorporated and it only says USA Trucking, the rule was violated. Paychecks must include the bank address. The PAGA penalty for failing to follow these rules is $100 for the first violation and $200 for every subsequent mistake, and these penalties would apply to every paycheck for every employee for the past 52 weeks. The penalties can add up to and reach into the millions quickly. Assemblywoman Shannon Grove's PAGA reform bill at AB 588 would make a minor change to the PAGA law by giving business owners 33 days to fix these trivial wage statement errors before a lawsuit can go forward. The same bill was introduced last year, but it died in the Assembly Labor and Employment Committee on a party line vote. And now for Critter Connection with Jolene.
Hi, I'm Jolene Sen from KZGN News, and I'm here with Mary at Ridgecrest Animal Shelter, and this is Farrah. So, what kind of breed is Farrah?
Farrah is a calico. She's a tortoise shell. She's about 2 years old, and she's been here since June. She would love to go into a new home and be someone's companion.
She is a very beautiful cat. Is she well with other animals?
She does well with other animals, dogs and other cats. She likes attention. She likes to be on your lap or petted. So she's a very social cat. And for some reason, we haven't had any takers on her. We've had several interested parties, but nothing's gone through. So she is patiently waiting at the animal shelter to be adopted.
She seems very friendly and very calm, and I would love to take her home, but someone else would be very lucky to take this beautiful cat home. So what is your phone number to contact?
So if you're interested in Farrah or any of our animals here at the animal shelter, you can contact the animal shelter at 760-499-5190. We're open Tuesday through Friday, 11 to 5, and Saturday, 10 to 4. We're closed Sunday, Monday, and major holidays.
Okay, and what is the location, and is there a website online?
The location is 411 San Bernardino Boulevard, and you can also go to our Facebook page, which is Ridgecrest Animal Shelter, or to our ridgecrestpetfinder.com page, and you can see all of our animals that are listed here, as well as an application to adopt Farrah or any of our animals here.
I hope someone is interested in getting Farrah. Thank you. I am Jolene Sen from KZGN News, and thank you, Mary.
You're very welcome. Thank you for coming.
Thanks a lot, Jolene. Now in KZGN continuous effort to provide news and information you've asked for. Here are today's local gas prices for your information. As of this morning, Ridgecrest is ranging from $2.98 to $3.39, plus one station sitting at $3.69, and I don't know why they're up there that high. Lancaster is sitting from $3.09 to $3.59. The LA Valley area is sitting at $2.99 to $3.49, and the Bishop area is running $3.31 to $3.39. We have one station coming in at the $2.98 figure, and four stations coming in at the $2.99 cost. I would add that we continue to be cheaper here than the Costco gas station in Lancaster. We have 6 Ridgecrest stations cheaper than Costco in Lancaster. We will be providing these prices 3 times a week, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Of course, we at KZGN always suggest you fill up here to support our local economy. Remember, when you pay any sales tax out of town, you are helping those cities pave their streets instead of here. In today's stock market news, the markets are way off. There's a lot of downturn today. The Dow Jones currently is sitting at 17719, down 291 points. NASDAQ is sitting at 4876, down 18 points. Boy, and they were worried about it hitting 5,000 just a week ago. And finally, the S&P is currently at 2061, down 30 points, which is a big move for the S&P. Stay tuned for sports and weather when we return. Thanks for staying with us, and now let's go to Keith for the weather.
Thanks, Tom. All I can say is wow. Before I give you the lowdown on our side of the nation, let's look to the East Coast. Currently, there's a front moving over the northeast with rain and thunder showers near the New York, New Jersey area, and it's steadily moving east. In the central parts, another system is steadily moving across Kansas towards St. Louis, and in the northwest, some showers moving across Washington and Oregon states. And for us in the southwest, high Santa Ana winds overnight with gusts reported as high as 40 miles per hour this morning, knocked over trees and causing some traffic problems. For us locally, mostly clear tonight with a low around 50, east wind around 5 miles per hour. Thursday will be sunny with a high near 84, north-northwest wind 5 miles per hour. Thursday night, clear with a low around 52, east wind 5 to 10 miles per hour. And on Friday, we start warming up even more. Will be sunny with a high near 89, northwest wind 5 miles per hour. And Friday night will be clear with a low around 53. Saturday will be sunny with a high near 90, west-northwest wind around 5 miles per hour. And Saturday night will be mostly clear with a low around 56. And that is your local forecast for us here in the IWV. And as Thomas stated earlier, please remember, don't leave your animals or small children in your car. It is starting to warm up out there, folks. And let's just watch out for the little ones that can't take care of themselves, okay? And now back to Tom.
Thank you, Keith. And now the sports with Tom Hecht.
And a very pleasant Wednesday afternoon to everybody. Let's start with some local sports. Yesterday in softball, the Burroughs JV softball team dropped a tough game to a very good team from the Lancaster area, Paraclete High School. The final score was 9-0, and the Burroughs softball team varsity will be soon starting their conference games. Coach Michelle Lazaro doing a very good job with that team. On the boys' side, for the varsity baseball team, John Bradley and crew have only lost one game. They're about a week away from starting Mojave River League play also. Right now, currently, they are 6 wins and 1 loss. John Bradley in his 4th year at the helm. All right, let's talk about 5th grade basketball league. Some games going on tonight. It'll be Richmond and St. Anne, Gateway in Yokern, Fowler and Pierce, and Charter and Las Flores. That'll be both boys and girls, and those games start about 5:30. Up at Saracosa, we'll have the results tomorrow of the 5th grade basketball league. All right, yesterday in baseball, it was Barstow defeating Saracosa 11-2. That game played over in Barstow. Two teams meet again on Thursday. That game will be at 6 o'clock. If you can't get out, it'll be locally on KLOA, 1240 a.m., starting at 6 o'clock, also along the Saracosa Baseball.Club network. Now let's talk about UCLA Bruins. Right now the Bruins are in the quarterfinals, and the Bruins haven't been there, which is really the Sweet 16 if you want to use other terminology. Bruins have been there, I should say, the last 3 years. Steve Alford doing a very good job. He lost 4 of his top players to the NBA. They have really peaked. They got off to a really horrid start early in November and December. And actually, when they played at U of A, or UAB, University of Alabama, Birmingham, in the second round last week in the NCAA tournament, it was those same 2 teams that played back in November for 7th place of an 8-team tournament in the Bahamas. So both teams improved, but UCLA right now, I think they're playing as good as anyone. Problem is, they've got Gonzaga next. Gonzaga presents a height problem for them. Should be a good game. That game will be on Friday. I believe it starts about 4:45 our local time on CBS. Okay, let's take a look at the NBA last night. Golden State beat Portland. Sacramento beats the 76ers 107-106. The Lakers lost to the Thunder 127-118. Actually played pretty good in that game. 28 for Russell Westbrook. Oklahoma City now has won 6 straight. They have played very well since the All-Star break, and if they get healthy, you may hear from them once again. Dallas beat San Antonio, Milwaukee over Miami. The Bucks improved this year. Jason Kidd doing a good job there. Detroit over Toronto, 108-104. Now in the NIT is kind of the one that teams that don't get invited to the NCAA get to play in. In the old days, the NIT was played all back in New York City, 32 teams. Nowadays, only the Final Four get back to New York. Stanford beat Vanderbilt last night. Not a real big crowd there either. So Stanford, Miami, and Murray State, three of the top teams that will get to the Final Four, the NIT, the other teams being decided tonight. All right, a quick note from the from the NCAA basketball. Herb Sendak, the 9-year coach of Arizona State, was fired yesterday by the university. Sendak won 20 more games than he lost. He still had 2 years left on his contract, so they'll probably give him $3 or $4 million, buy him out, and he'll be on his way to somewhere else. A very good coach in a very tough conference. Well, that's your sports for this Wednesday. I'm Tom Heck for KZGN.
And now stay with us for the following pictures sent in by Ken to KZGN-TV News. Thanks for the great pictures, Ken. So that's the news for today. All of us at KZGN-TV know you have a choice in what you watch for your news. We all thank you for choosing KZGN-TV, Ridgecrest's only community TV station. And I want to tell you to please stay tuned for Ridgecrest Talk with Lois Barris and a very special program. You don't want to miss it.